In this video, I'm going to give you the 5 questions that I ask when completing health updates with clients that'll give you all the information that you need to fill out the subjective section of your SOAP notes. So the reason I came up with this framework is because one day when I was at university doing placement and work experience, they basically came up to me and said, we've recently had a client that came in and they've recently had a fall, you've got to do a health update on them. And I had no idea how to conduct a health update and what I even actually had to ask the person. I wasn't taught it during any of the courses. No one had told me, so I had to figure out by myself in 5 minutes what to actually ask this person. And so I eventually went and saw this person. I had no idea what to say. I was kind of just like, what happened? Tell me what happened. How did it happen? When did it happen? And I was just asking questions about it. And so after the session, I thought I did pretty well in trying to update the health and write it in the SOAP notes. But I wanted to have a more structured way next time this happened. I wasn't just thrown in the deep end. I had no idea what to ask. So after the session, I went and spoke to the supervisors, asked what sort of questions should I be asking. I did research and a bunch of things to figure out some sort of framework and something to make it easy for myself. Next time I had to actually ask someone that had recently had a change in their health, what question should I be asking this person? What's the framework I should use? Because, we have this SOAP notes framework, the subjective, objective, assessment, and plan. That's like a simple framework to remember. What's a simple framework to remember when doing a health update? Now, I use this framework to remember what information I need to ask the client that I can then write in the SOAP notes. And I can use the information to adjust and create a plan for the client going into the future to help them continue to reach their goals and overcome this barrier and the health event that's happened. So what do you write in the subjective part of your SOAP notes when conducting health updates with clients? I use this 2W3H framework, and the first question I ask is what happened? I get into the details with the client of what happened, what was their experience like, what things do they think caused the actual event to occur. Get as much detail as you can from the client. And then the second thing I ask them is, when did it happen? Was it a specific time in the morning? Was it a specific time in the afternoon? A specific day that it happened? Was there something that occurred beforehand that caused it to happen? Asking when it happened. Then I go into how did it happen? Get details of if they fell over, were they walking sideways when they fell over? If they've got shoulder pain, is it from when they're twisting and pulling stuff out of the washing machine? Get specific details on when the pain or when the change in health occurred. The more details you got, the more reasons you can try and figure out what's the cause of the change of the health. And the next one is super important, is has it happened before? Is this something that's reoccurring? Is it something that they've experienced before as well? Or is this something completely new that they've never experienced? And if it's something that's happened before, is this something that needs to be addressed or hasn't been addressed that now needs to be addressed in their plan going into the future? And the last question that I ask is, have you spoken to your GP about it? Gets their perspective on how important this actual change in health is. Usually people, if they've had a significant change in health, they'll go and speak to their doctor about it. So this kind of addresses how important that the client thinks it is. That's the framework that I use, the 5 questions. What happened? When did it happen? How did it happen? Has it happened before? And have you spoken to your GP about it? So what does this information actually tell you? And so what it actually gives you information about is going into the future. Are there any areas that need to be addressed? For instance, if they tell you that they've had a shoulder injury and how it happened was from twisting, maybe they've got some internal rotation pain and you need to start strengthening that external rotation. So how a change in their health occurred can give you information on some areas that you need to actually address and strengthen in your plan going further. Same thing if they've had a fall and they fell walking sideways, then you know that they've probably got a weakness in that stepping to the side, and you can address that in your plan going into the future by practicing some sideways stepping. And if they tell you that it's happened before, then potentially that's a sign that this needs to be addressed in your plan as well. It's a recurring problem, and addressing it now will prevent it happening in the future. So this information that you're writing down and you're getting from the client using these 5 questions actually helps you develop the plan going further with the client, address some of the root causes that are causing their problem. And the best way to actually remember these 5 questions is by practicing it. I practice it a couple times a week, going over and remembering these 5 questions and just pretending and just visualizing a fake scenario with the client that they've had a fall and I'm asking these 5 questions, or someone that have had a shoulder injury or they've got lower back pain, I'm asking these 5 questions. And just practice when you're by yourself, 5 minutes is all it takes, but it refreshes you, and visualizing and practicing and going through those scenarios actually develops the skill. So when it comes to actually seeing a client, it's a habit because you've developed it and you practice it by yourself, and now you know and you remember the 5 questions off your head because you practiced them so many times. Now, I know if you're watching this video, you probably like frameworks. Frameworks make your life so much easier. And if you want a framework on how to end every single session with your client with purpose, you can watch this video where I go over exactly how to end a session using a simple framework. See you in the next video.